Many meteorologists can identify an event from their youth that cemented their interest in the weather. And for me, that event hit close to home 50 years ago today, April 3rd, 1974. I was in 7th grade in eastern Ohio when an F5 tornado devastated a small town named Xenia near Dayton in the western part of the state. Many of the schools in Xenia were heavily damaged, though fortunately the tornado hit after hours, but the news still resonated at my middle school across the state. The Xenia tornado was the strongest in a 20-hour-long tornadic eruption, now known as the Super Outbreak. 147 tornadoes, including 7 rated top-of-the-scale F5 across 13 states from Michigan to Mississippi. More than 300 fatalities and 5,000 injuries resulted. The first tornado formed in Illinois around 1 p.m. on April 3rd, the last around 8 a.m. the next day in North Carolina. The surface weather map the morning of April 3rd, 1974 showed a strong low over Kansas, the many isobars around it indicating that the storm controlled a large area. By afternoon, a southerly flow of warm, humid air from the Gulf ahead of the storm had reached the Ohio Valley, while the jet stream overhead housed a jet streak, a pocket of faster winds that assisted in explosive thunderstorm development. Satellite imagery showed a huge comma-shaped cloud pattern, typical of a powerful mid-latitude low, with breaks in the clouds in the Ohio and Tennessee valleys that allowed some sun in, destabilizing the lower atmosphere. Thunderstorms organized into 3 distinct squall lines. The middle one produced most of the strongest tornadoes. The paths of the 7 F5s are shown here as red lines, 3 in Alabama, 3 near the Ohio River, and the one that hit Xenia. The blue and purple lines here are the paths of other strong F3 and F4 tornadoes. There are more than 50 of those lines. Now, weather radar at that time was primitive by modern standards. No Doppler capability to detect rotation inside thunderstorms. Forecasters often didn't issue a warning until a tornado was visually confirmed. Here's what the Xenia tornado looked like on 1974 era radar. It did show the classic curlicue hook echo feature, so local forecasters did issue a warning 20 minutes before the tornado formed. But warnings at that time were punched into a paper tape, fed through a reader, and disseminated via teletype. With as many as 15 tornadoes at once, a bottleneck of warnings developed. Some went out too late to be of use to the public. After the super outbreak, a faster weather wire was implemented, and warnings were prioritized over other National Weather Service products. The super outbreak was studied extensively by Dr. Theodore Fujita at the University of Chicago, he of the F scale, and his grad student, Dr. Greg Forbes, who went on to be the severe weather expert at the Weather Channel. Their work provided the blueprint for subsequent studies of tornado outbreaks. Stay tuned. Our extended forecast is next, including an update on weather for the eclipse next Monday.